Hello everyone and welcome to another E3 press conference. This time it's Square Enix up to the chopping board, as we'd like to say. And I'm joined again by the lovely Morph Shuffle. Say hello.
Hiya.
And so Square was a bit weird one because like Bethesda, they've never really held one in quite some time. I don't know if Bethesda's ever held one. Not actually entirely sure. But Square Enix, anyone who doesn't know what Square Enix is, they are known for Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy. They also are a pretty darn good publisher with sort of Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Just Cause and stuff. So we'll have a few of them to talk about today. They decided to start off with a big game, which is Just Cause 3.
Well, when they say big, they mean massive.
Yeah, the world is huge. They also went into how like destruction will take part in the game, because Just Cause was always about kind of blowing up stuff, but it's the way everything comes apart. You can pick apart vehicles in certain ways. You can dump them from the sky from a helicopter and blow up places. I did see there was a lot of explosions. It's like you will save the country by getting rid of the military bases, i.e. blow everything up.
Yeah, obviously that's the way forward.
It looked really cool. They did actually mention how they've made sort of tweaks to the system. Like with your grappling hook, it's a lot more sort of precise, and you can do a lot more with it. And it just seems like it's going to be so much more fluid in gameplay.
It's going to be bigger, and it's going to just run smooth. Well, I hope it runs smooth. From what I've seen, it runs smooth.
Usually does. So what's your thoughts on it then?
I've never really played any of the Just Causes, but it literally looks like one of those ones where I could just run around and kill everything that moves, regardless of where it is.
It's actually coming out this year too.
Yeah. Well, not till very late this year. Still, it's the vehicles are really what did it for me. The amount of vehicles that you could use.
All the stuff. Yeah, they did go in and saying like all the vehicles, and they were very sort of well modelled. You know, I find it's like if you take Grand Theft Auto for instance. I mean, apart from the odd few, it does feel like there's a lot of sort of generic vehicles. And I get there's probably going to be a lot of multiple of the same vehicles in the game, but it does look like they put a lot more care and attention into than most games when it comes to sort of their like runabout kind of cars and tanks, and because there was a lot of tanks, helicopters, random vehicles, trucks, everything.
Monster trucks.
Oh yes, with monster trucks. I challenge you,
I
a
like
monster truck duel.
How would that fare?
We drive into each other, then drive back until someone loses and blows up.
Well, that could work. It could work.
With some epic music over it.
Obviously, we need the epic music.
But it's releasing in the 1st of December. It looked pretty darn fantastic. It looks a lot of fun. I do believe they're, I think, putting in multiplayer this time, because the second one doesn't have multiplayer. It was modded in. And
No, I think I can't remember if he said it directly, but I think even with the third one, they're going to leave it up to the public to do it, community, because they think that they can do it better.
Probably.
No, they.
No.
Have you seen some of the mods that are around? They can do mods that are better than the actual game.
Probably because just constraints, really.
Yeah, true.
Because like they would be like, we want to do this, but we have, they have the budget and their actual systems and all that. But then other people, it's more like a passion project. Not saying that developers, it's not a passion project. It's just they do have the big sort of, big wigs and suits hanging over, going, "Is it ready?
Yeah.
Is it ready?"
I'll just be like, get out of my face. It'll be ready when it's ready. Leave me alone.
There was a host of RPGs. The first one up was Kingdom Hearts 3, which everybody waited for, and still didn't get it released.
No, they didn't. No, what I found really weird is at the end, after they announced everything, the amount of time it took someone to literally just start going, because no one knew. It didn't seem like anyone knew when to clap.
Yeah,
because Kingdom Hearts is a big game,
and no one was. Is very much. I have a feeling they invited like investors and very few sort of people that were gotten in there, because I know a good few people at where I also do YouTube managing. They love Kingdom Hearts, and I think it's just one of those things. It's just like Square Enix, because it was. I don't know if this is the first press conference. I don't believe it is, but it's their first in a long while. and they are very, like, you saw at the end, anyone who hasn't watched the press conference though, is like at the end they did bring everybody up, and we're very much like, you know, they're very sort of gratifying towards their developers. They're very sort of, you know, feel like they're taking a bit more risks in a sense. We'll get to something. I feel like they really need to learn how to name things, but they do seem to be a bit, you know, they'll always be out and checking on the developers, making sure everything's okay. And I mean, sometimes Square Enix can be a bit like Tomb Raider on the Xbox One only, and saying Xbox that Tomb Raider didn't sell well when it sold 7 million copies. They can be a bit odd, but I believe they're sort of finding their footing. But Kingdom Hearts 3 does look pretty darn cool. It looks like the other ones, but better. I did notice
they all look the same though. It's Disney.
Yeah, they're bringing Tangled in.
Yeah, I don't actually. No, I never actually saw Tangled. It looked like one of them films that I wasn't on for, so I don't really know what Tangled is. But who knows?
Another Disney property. There you go.
Yeah, another Disney property.
I think the studio always does it really, really well. How it mixes it up, and I've always enjoyed the combat. It does seem they're going for sort of what looks like mega weapons in a sense, because I know it's like he had these two swords, and then the next thing they turned them into a gun, and then it turned into a giant, I don't know, thing. Then it just got bigger and bigger, and I'm like, okay then.
Okay, whatever.
But the combat's always been pretty darn fun in Kingdom Hearts, and I like the worlds because the way Kingdom Hearts, I don't know if you played one or two. Have you?
No, I haven't played them, but I've been around people whilst I've not played it physically, but I've seen.
Because you always like visit sort of Disney worlds in a sense. You always
Disney Worlds or Disney Worlds?
Disney.
Oh, Disney. Okay.
But that looks good, except they didn't give us a release date again. And there was a distinct lack of Final Fantasy 15. They had nothing on it, which they did say they wouldn't bring it to E3, which they've said that. But I think they were also not wanting any attention drawn away from Final Fantasy 7. They showed the same trailer, which is awesome. It has a little Final Fantasy chime and all that, but
yeah,
it's like, you showed this last night, guys. You got something else to add? No, okay.
No, okay. you gave all your beans on the first showing, and now you're just like, yeah, whatever.
One thing it did kind of annoy me though is the fact that it's just like, oh, we're announcing this today. It's like, they announced it last night. Yeah, you guys announced that last night. Don't do that.
I don't think anyone was really up for going, you did that last night.
But we had Final Fantasy get shown again. I'm saying that like it's a bad thing, but it's really freaking cool, and hopefully, but I'm guessing we're probably not going to see that game till at least 2017, I think.
Yeah, it probably won't be for a
but
while.
moving away slightly from the RPGs, we do have Hitman.
Hitman looks awesome. I think they've...
strange though is it's just called Hitman.
No, I like that. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but they had Hitman. What was the other one called? I forget.
Oh,
was
God,
it Hitman Revolution?
Absolute or something.
Yeah,
like
Absolution, I think.
Absolute.
So it's just like, because they've had other games obviously that have just been called Hitman. So part of me wants to say it feels like a bit of a soft reboot, which I wouldn't really, because that's what the other one was technically. But I know some people are like, oh, you couldn't be as stealthy, and it does seem like they were opening up the world a lot more, and there was a lot of ways you could actually, because it seemed to be the whole video was dedicated to actually doing the same assassination in different ways, apart from they went into, describing, your contracts you can do from player creation, because they always had the player creation, which did really well.
Yeah, because you could make it a little bit personal. I like how with ever customization, you get the plainest one in the advert, and then you just make them look stupid.
It does look incredible. I do like the fact they're opening it all up though, and you can actually do your methods of assassination. Because it was just like, oh, you could make it look like murder, just take an axe to the guy's chest, or you can make the building fall in, or you could just poison him.
Yeah, you can go from one extreme to the other, or keep it simple. But I think they're kind of stealing bits from Assassin's Creed.
Hitman's always been about that though. That's what people are annoyed with.
As in the open world of it, that's what I mean. It's
Well, a lot
become
of
so
games are
open
kind of
world.
going. A lot of games are going the open world route though, but it's whether a game can be done right as an open world game, because you can make a game open world and have it empty. I'm going to name one, and I'm probably going to get hit for this, but Skyrim.
Oh, yeah, no, I know what you mean, because there's some parts of Skyrim where you can be there, and then you see nothing. There's
I mean,
nothing
it's
at
like,
all.
oh, I can run in this like big wide world, but there's nothing to see. Also, forgive the ding, my dog's deciding to hit his tail on his bowl.
It's like, feed me.
So I'm hoping to do that right. They didn't. I think they said it's coming out in 2016, if I believe, right? Didn't see any release date per se.
There's no specific release.
Yeah.
I think that one is early. That's early 2016. That one.
Yeah. But you looking forward to it?
Yeah, Hitman. I will get Hitman because admittedly, I do like the Assassin's Creed series, and the fact that this is kind of going along the whole open world sort of thing, so I can at least go in guns blazing this time. Doesn't really work in Assassin's Creed.
That's
so
why you don't like Assassin's Creed. You just want a gun.
I do. I want to blow shit up. That's what I like.
Next up on the sort of big show was, a lot of people have been waiting on this, and I actually love this series. It's Star Ocean, new Star Ocean game. It was only announced though, they were just like, because they were saying, oh, Japan, blah blah blah, and now they actually have officially said that it's coming to North America and Europe, which is brilliant, because Star Ocean, it's like the RPG, but it's really big, really flashy, looks good, the fighting's phenomenal, because it was Star Ocean The Last Hope, I think the last one I had. And it's just like you have big battles going on, and there's a lot of overarching, and you can go between planets and everything. It's like a proper big sort of a universal type game, and it looks good. Did like the mentions of the whole seamlessness, and also kind of cutting back on cutscenes, but having sort of I don't know if you remember what he said, because I think he was like dynamic and scripted or something. There'll be two different types of like cutscenes, like ones the players are kind of partaking in a sense, or doing it.
Just generic.
Yeah. Whereas a lot of Square Enix games do always look fantastic, cutscenes are elsewhere. But I don't know. Are you an RPG fan? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, no, I love my role-playing games. I love. If I'm gonna buy a game, I buy it for the story. That's why. Probably get slated for this. I love World of Warcraft. Admittedly, I don't play it anymore, but I love the story. Everything to do with the story of a game.
Is it one of those ones, so once you've played it, you get to the end game, you're like, right, that's it, I'm done now?
Ah, no, but with WoW, when you reach end game, there's so much stuff to do, and they bring out another expansion, so the end game always continues.
I suppose you make a point.
So it's like a never-ending story. Wow, I just made a really bad joke. I do apologise for that. Yeah. Wow, really bad reference. But yeah, I love my RPGs. Always do.
What did you make of Star Ocean? Because I don't know if you've ever played one or not.
No, I haven't. I looked at it and got so confused about what was going on.
Yeah, I think what they were just trying to say is like, here's some raw gameplay from the game. And they said it was 30 FPS. They're aiming for actual 60 FPS, which I believe that would be the first Star. Well, I don't know what Final Fantasy 15 is aiming for, or the remake of 7. I'm assuming around about 60, but if Star Ocean comes out before then, because it looks like it's quite a bit along with Kingdom Hearts 3, but Square Enix likes to troll people and do it badly, may I add. But Star
They're
Ocean,
evil trolls.
yeah, because they've teased Final Fantasy 7, God knows how long. But the Star Ocean one does look kind of far along, and they were just like, here's some raw gameplay, this is what it is, we're aiming for 60 FPS, and it looked really cool, and I think at 60 FPS an RPG game could look phenomenally cool.
It will be something different.
They didn't actually mention, or did they mention, what was it, platform that's coming from? I'm assuming just console.
I can't remember them saying anything about PC. But then again, there was so much to take in on that.
Yeah. I mean, I did enjoy overall like what Square Enix was showing off. I mean, they are very much, they know that like they should be returning to their actual roots of Japanese RPGs, but they're also very good sort of supporting publisher. Hence, we get games like Just Cause 3, Hitman, Tomb Raider, which will come to other platforms. Don't worry, folks. But I believe the big titan that they left to last, of course, that a lot of people were sitting waiting on, because they did announce it, was Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and they were showing off a proper gameplay trailer reveal thing and more of the story. And it looked brilliant.
Yeah. And hopefully it will continue to be brilliant.
Anyone who has played the first one, I played I say first one, I should actually say Human Revolution, the soft reboot or whatever. I finished that game, sat back and was just like, wow, what just happened? It was just an amazing game. I played it for a good 8 or 9 times actually, and a good 60, 70 hour playthroughs at time.
Oh yeah, so you're there for at least a week.
Yeah, I loved Mankind Divided, the way it looked. I like the new additions, like how sort of Jensen's evolved. The music is still there, which is brilliant. You do see it looks like the sort of overarching villain at the end of the video, standing on the edge, covered in cybernetics, and looks like he's probably going to be a pain in the ass to take down. They have actually said that they will be.
You're right.
They have actually said they're going to do the boss fights right this time, and have it that you can either take them down stealth, well, non-lethal and lethal, so to speak. So, I mean, because last time it was like big splashy boss fights, and people really wanted a choice, because that was the rest of the game had a choice, whereas came a boss fight and you were like, you have to do it this way.
This is the only way that's acceptable. We would not accept any other way.
The game looks fantastic though. I mean, the studio behind Deus Ex have always really kind of pushed the bar, because Human Revolution was probably one of the better games of the year it came out, if not the best looking game in that year. And Mankind Divided looks to sort of top that up a wee bit more. Anyone who's wondering though, the story of Mankind Divided seems to be along the lines of there's terrorist groups and Jensen's acting as a double agent in a sense, trying to work his way up and find out, almost like he's searching for the true enemy. Like, you have these two sides warring, but it's almost as if it's someone, making it all happen.
There's a bigger picture. There's like a boss lord.
That's what I'm getting from it. But what's your thoughts on it?
It looks dirty, as in it's going to be one of those games where you're going to get involved in a lot of stuff, and a lot of bad stuff's going to happen. There's nothing you might not be able to change. Well, I think maybe in the game what you do may reflect what the other side. Because if you are going to be this double agent who's working both sides, you might do something in one faction that greatly dishearts your other one.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it might be for the better, it might be for the worse. Because you might be on one side and then screw up the other side, other factions.
That's actually a good point there.
And then they might retaliate with something drastic that's going to destroy the faction that you actually be on the side of.
Because in Human Revolution, there was things that, if you did things a certain way, you get extra points, you get people not paying attention to you, or paying attention to you, depending on what you've done. If you caused a ruckus, and people are going about, if you did a certain way, a cutscene would play out a different way, so to speak, and everything like that. Hoping for more of that, but just kind of turned up to 11 a bit more. I do like your point you brought across though. I really like that.
I'm glad I could be of some help.
I never actually sort of thought of that during when I was seeing the actual sort of reveal, and it was a sort of gameplay reveal to the world premiere thing, and it looks freaking cool. I always did love just getting lost in completely the world of Deus Ex. I can't wait for this one, and we don't seem to have to actually wait too long.
No, it's gonna come sooner than we think.
They have announced it will be. They were very particular, sort of it's very early 2016. I believe.
We think January.
Yeah, it probably will be one of the games that start off 2016. Either that February. I'll be either January, February, March. I can see it being January, February though.
It might even be a New Year's release.
Just on January 1st, it's where did everybody go? Why is nobody...
Why is nobody hungover?
Where did everybody... there's a game. Oh, okay. Just the one way to get... World peace. For basics.
Yeah. If only a game could do that.
But yeah, that was my game of the show, definitely. Do you have a game of the show?
Probably Deus Ex as well. I mean, I played. Oh God, the first Deus Ex I played was many years ago on a demo on a Xbox Gamer magazine. Back when they did the CDs, that was the first Deus Ex I
wait,
played.
did you play the awful one that nobody speaks of?
It's probably the awful one that nobody speaks of.
Because you have Deus Ex, you have not Deus Ex. You have the Deus Ex game, is the second one that nobody speaks of. You have, I think, I'm probably going to be missing one here. You have Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. I bet you there's 5. I feel like there's 5. Someone let me know down below. But Deus Ex definitely one of the show. Overall, how do you think Square Enix done?
Not bad. If it's not bad for what they brought. However, I feel it could have been better.
I would probably agree with you in that sense, but I feel it's more because they were a little bit stilted with the whole language barrier.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
What
presentation was, and one of them came out, and it seemed like the sort of English translator didn't turn his mic on.
Yeah, because he when he started talking, all of a sudden just went. Bleh.
And the mic kind of got turned down, and then you were like, oh, so the English translator's going to take over, and there was nothing, so nobody had any idea what he just said, and it was just like, can I have a Japanese person to translate this now, please? Please?
What's going on? Guys, help, what's going on?
That was the only thing, but I feel that it was good and strong. Games shown were very strong, it was a very strong roster. One last thing we'd like to mention, though, and it's probably an irk for both me and you, was the fact that the Square Enix has built or sort of founded a new studio to make RPG games, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant, and I'm like, the new studio is going to be called
Tokyo RPG Studio
Factory.
That was it. Still, my one was better. At least I went studio, I didn't go with factory.
I'm all for naming studios and all that, but it literally came across as sort of like, this is a factory to churn out RPGs, and that's it. Which I guess that's what it's set up to, is to build RPG games, new games that are not Final Fantasy, not Kingdom Hearts, not Star Ocean, everything. But the naming just seems like it's a bit more like, so it's going to be like a conveyor belt just to run out RPGs. That's the impression I got from it.
Be a factory to go.
I'm really hoping I'm entirely and stupidly wrong, but that's the impression Square gave with that.
Yeah.
See if they just called it, I don't know, Tokyo. Because I'm guessing
just get away from Tokyo. Tokyo, I don't think.
Star Signs games.
Star Signs, yeah, it could work better. Sounds better.
But yeah, like that was a bit of a. But overall, I did enjoy it. We do have one more press conference to come up at 1 a.m. for us in the UK. The PC gaming one, which will be weird. Maybe Half-Life 3 get announced. We can dream.
Yeah. Funny.
Well, guys, thank you again for tuning into this, and thank you, More Shuffle, for joining me for this one. It has been awesome. You are awesome as always. Guys, make sure you check out his link down below. It is always down below in the descriptions, and we shall see you next time.
Yeah. Bye now.